We are going to begin our service with Surely the Presence. So would you all stand and join us? Surely the presence of the Spirit's in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its grace. I can feel the brush of eagle's wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Spirit's in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel its mighty power and its peace. I can hear the brush of eagle's wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
Good morning, everyone. So welcome to Unity Spiritual Center Spokane, where we are all about the mission, our mission of transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. Welcome to everyone here and online. My name is Darlene Walsh-Martin, and I will be our platform assistant for today. If everyone could take a moment to silence your cell phones, that would be greatly appreciated. As always, we want to begin our time together by engaging in our opening affirmation. I will say it once and then ask you to repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good. This is Unity's foundation principle: one presence, one power, one life, living through and as each of us. This morning, we'll be hearing from our transformational speaker, Catherine Dietz, right over here. We're blessed again, and with her talk entitled "Rekindling the Fire Within." Catherine will also be leading us in today's meditation, and then we're also blessed today and have already been blessed by the musical talents of Sakura Azupardi. So thank you. So we want to thank you for what you have shared with us already and what is to be shared. And with that, let's go ahead and listen to our musician.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here, and for those of you watching from home, we appreciate you tuning in as well. Today's message is focused on the topic of rekindling the power within you. And I love, Darlene, you actually said rekindling the fire within you. I like it, because it's very powerful. And yes, when I sent the description of this talk to Amber this past week, here's what I said I'd be sharing. As students of the teachings and principles of unity, we've all learned that the Spirit of God lives within each person. And yet, how often do we inadvertently detour from this sacred path and feel lost in finding our way back? So in this talk, we'll focus on some tried and true practices that will help you rekindle that power within you, and how connecting to that power within you will help you reveal and heal what matters most to you in life. So who's ready for that? Okay, I've shared in some of my previous talks here how much my life changed for the better when I was introduced to the science of mind philosophy years and years ago, which is incredibly similar to the unity philosophy, pretty much the same. And this happened when I was getting divorced many years ago, and I went from this feeling of, I have no power in my life just happens to me, this is just the way we have to deal with it, oh well. And then once I learned the science of mind philosophy and really brought that into my heart, it's like, no, I have this power within me. Life doesn't happen to me, it happens through me. And it's not always going to be easy, but I can participate it in a whole new way with this power within me. And it really, really changed my life and my perception of life for the better. It helped me feel less chaotic and more calmed. And then a few years after that, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and he began reading books that introduced ideas and concepts that he hadn't really explored before. And one of those books was The Power is Within You by Louise Hay. And it helped him feel much more at peace. You know, often when we're diagnosed with a terminal illness or something really, really serious, it brings up a lot of fear. It brings up a lot of fear about the end of life. Have we said everything we need to say? Have we forgiven? All that stuff that comes up in our human experience. And this book brought a lot of peace to him in his experience. And my stepmom ended up sending copies to each of us kids. And of course, I was naturally drawn to it because it had helped my dad so much, but I started reading it and just immediately fell in love with it. And then soon realized that Louise Hay, the author of The Power is Within You, was a science of mind practitioner years before that. So it was all kind of tying together. I had learned science of mind first, and then Louise Hay came into the picture. And then after this book, I learned about her other big book, her first big book, called You Can Heal Your Life. And this book does a beautiful job of laying really the foundation for being able to tap into the power within you. We need to first be aware of what's holding us back and what we've learned that's not helping us, so that we can unlearn that and learn something new. So this is really, really good for laying the foundation of all the tools that we get to practice, and I'll be sharing some of those today so that we can tap deeper into the powers within you. So it does a great job of just taking the reader on this journey from beginning to end of, let's be aware of this and let's look into these deeper parts of ourselves and bring up these beliefs that no longer serve. And this took my journey to a whole new level, because now I had all sorts of tools to actually apply. It wasn't just an intellectual understanding of, oh, yes, I have this power within me and I can use it for the better. Like, I can grab the intellectual understanding of that, but until we actually start applying tools that give us that experience, then we don't really know the experience of it. And so having tools to put into practice is extremely helpful for that. And it helped me change my life so much that I felt called to be able to share these tools with others. And Louise Hay had a program where you could learn how to become a workshop leader to teach her workshops. And so that's what I did. I became a Heal Your Life workshop leader and coach. And I've been teaching these workshops for about 10 years now, and just finished teaching a 6-week series here at Unity for the You Can Heal Your Life workshop last month. And even though I've taught these series many times, it always, always amazes me how much it transforms life in such a short amount of time. It's just truly amazing. And when we come together, and we come together in an environment of unconditional love and support for each other, we're all here for the same reason. It's a You Can Heal Your Life workshop series. So we're all showing up hoping that we can heal our lives, and we're here to support each other as well as be supported by others. And in that environment, much like a church community, spiritual center community provides, it allows us to come together for a common good, and it allows us to feel supported by one another, and that we're not alone in this journey. So that's one tool for sure that can help us rekindle the power. Of course, it is our own personal journey, and we need to do the work for ourselves, but sharing the journey with others and learning and teaching with others is extremely helpful. So when I finished the series, I told the participants, hey, I'm going to look into offering a workshop series on the power is within you here at Unity as well. And the very next Sunday's talk that was by Karen Dunmore called Back to the Basics, she brought up the Power is Within You book by Louise Hay. And I thought, I just love that synchronicity. And I will be giving the Power is Within You workshop series starting next month. So today, I thought I would just share some of the tried and true practices that I teach in the workshops that I've learned myself. And of course, there's many, many, many journeys that people take, and there's many, many ways in which we can tap into that power within us. But these are tried and true practices that I've been practicing and teaching for many years and see time and time again how often they help. Now, since this is a talk, it's not really a workshop, I'm just going to kind of briefly touch on the things that we went through in the class and learned, in hopes that you can take these into your mind and heart and just listen to them as like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I can explore that a little bit more. Oh, yes, I've explored that, but maybe I could do that a little bit more. Or, no, I'm doing really good at that. I can see that I have grown in that area. Maybe just kind of tap it into your own experience and see how it applies to you. So in the Heal Your Life foundational workshop, we start with acknowledging that we are each responsible for our own experiences. And then when we learn how to love ourselves, everything in our life works a whole lot better. And I feel like when we learn how to love ourselves, we are tapping into that power within us. We're acknowledging that we are an expression of the divine, and we know that we are loved and that we are loving. And so that helps us learn how to love ourselves more and more. And there are many ways to love yourself, and there's many ways to not love yourself. And some of those things we need to get in touch with too, like how am I criticizing myself? Or why am I always beating myself up and not giving myself credit for the things that are going well? As humans, we tend to focus on the negative of things rather than the positive. And self-criticism is way too easy for many, many people. We're very quick to compliment others and praise others, and we're also very quick to criticize ourselves and not praise ourselves. So being aware of those things too. And one of the easiest ways, and one of the simple ways, I think, of remembering how to love ourselves is just remembering that we are an expression of God. Unity's teachings remind us that the Spirit of God lives within each of us. Literally, this power is within us. So after acknowledging that we are each responsible for our own experiences, we start to unveil what has been keeping us from remembering how truly magnificent we are. So we start to look at what we were taught as children. And this isn't to go back and blame our parents for not raising us right or for teaching us wrong things. It's not about that. It's just going back and saying, what was I taught as a child that doesn't really apply today, that doesn't necessarily feel good, or what we should do in order to be accepted by society? There's so many, you should do this or you shouldn't do that, or you're not going to be accepted by others. And in that space of seeing all these things that we were taught about what we should be doing, we start recognizing how often we've rejected ourselves in hopes of being accepted by another, where we have done things that we should do, but we didn't really want to do. It didn't feel true to us, but, well, this is what everybody does, and this is what everybody's telling me to do, so I guess I should do it to be accepted. So we reject ourselves when we do things like that. And so when we remember that the true source of our validation and our worthiness is the source within us, the source that created us, then we don't need to look to others to validate us. We can look within and touch into that power. we start seeing how much power we've given away by waiting for others to validate our worthiness. And we even do one of the things we do is called a deservability exercise. And we kind of go back and look at things like, as a child, what were you taught about deserving? Did you have to do your homework first before you could play with your friends? Did you have to behave in order to love? Were you sent to your room if you weren't acting the way that your parents wanted you to act, or that you were embarrassing them because you were making a big, so just go to your room and come out when you can actually be better. Those are all ways, and of course, parents have to guide their children and let them know what's okay and what's not okay. But when we tell a child that its expression is not good and that it's wrong, and we banish them to their rooms, there becomes this lack of self-worthiness within them. And so those are the types of things that we unveil and look at. And we recognize that we need to feel that worthiness and deservability within ourselves. We're asked to face ourselves, to literally look in the mirror and say, I love you, into your own eyes. And that's not easy for a lot of people. And to see what that brings up. And if it does feel hard, we just know we have work to do. It's okay. We start realizing that we give way too much power to the past, to what's already happened and what cannot change. It's so easy to stay stuck in the past, especially things that have hurt us and that we have a hard time letting go of. And when we start unveiling these things and looking at them and revealing them, it's like, wow, I've given a lot of time and energy and power to something that's been over for 10 years, 20 years, sometimes decades for certain people. And so when we realize that, it's like, okay, well then I can redirect that power and come to the present. We do our best to give our power to the present moment, reminding ourselves that anything is possible, and we believe in and love ourselves. And if we believe in and love God, then we can believe in and love ourselves as an extension of God, right? I remember reading that one time, like, I believe in myself because I believe in God. And I was like, whoa, that is such a simple statement, but it helped me believe in myself more. It's just this very simple, direct, I believe in myself because I believe in God. We stop blaming others for our problems and take full ownership of our role in our relationships, our job, our finances, and anything else that really matters to us. It's so easy to blame others for our problems, especially when we're in relationship with something else or someone else, and we're not feeling good about it. Well, then it must be the other person. If they would just do this or they would just not do this, then I would be okay. And clearly, we need to communicate things that are not okay with us, but we also need to look within. What do we need to change? Because I'm in this relationship too. I have a role in it as well. It's always both people. And we can look at it as, what is this trying to teach me rather than why is this happening to me? It's really easy in our human drama to get wrapped up in like, oh my God, this is so awful. Why is this happening to me? And if we can just step back and say, okay, what is this trying to teach me? How is this trying to help me grow? And in all of this, we must decide that we're willing to change. One of the biggest things in the workshop that's so incredibly helpful, especially when it comes to forgiveness, because that's a big topic, is some people will say, yeah, I understand the idea of forgiveness. I think it's a great idea, but this one thing that this person did is unforgivable. I'm not doing it. I don't know how, and it's not going to happen. I know that's a really good thing for me, but I'm not doing it. And so even just that resistance to doing something that we know is good for us is coming from a place of pain. And it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. I'm not willing to just let go of this as if nothing ever happened. I need this person to know that it was wrong and I'm holding on to this. But we're really just hurting ourselves by holding on to that resentment. And even just saying, okay, I'm willing to forgive. I don't know how the hell I'm going to do it yet, but I'm willing to forgive. And even just that willingness will open up a new perspective, will open up a new power within you to give you the guidance you need to forgive. So many of us do resist change because we like the comfort and the safety of familiarity, even when what we're familiar with is not what we want. I think about how many people stay in relationships that don't feel good because it's familiar. It's what they know. And even though it doesn't feel good, at least it feels safe. At least I know what to expect. I don't know what to expect in a different relationship or if I'm on my own. So they just stay in that what's familiar and they resist the change. So we have to constantly choose to change what we want to see change. It's not just going to happen by sitting back and hoping that it changes. And if we don't know how, as I mentioned a minute ago, we just need to start with a willingness and a knowing that the answer is already within, and to trust that. And that the teachings of unity remind us in so many different ways that we have that power within, that we are one with this source, and that we can tap into that and know that we have the answers. And so by asking ourselves these questions and by going through exercises, this book, if you haven't read it yet and it's sounding interesting, I highly recommend it because it really does lead you through this very specific process of asking yourself certain questions and doing certain exercises to actually put the teachings into an experience and not just talk about them or not just read them. And so as we did this in the workshop series, as we asked ourselves these questions and we went through the exercises, we start to see our patterns a lot more. So many of us have patterns going on that we're just not even aware of. They're just default, everyday things that we don't even think about. And so when we step back and start looking at these things, we're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that I was doing that. And it's really, really empowering because then we can look at what we see as painful patterns and turn them into powerful perceptions. Like, oh, now I know why I was doing that. Okay, well, that was getting a need met. Now I can get this need met in a different way, in a way that feels healthier. I've learned more about myself. I've learned more about other people in relationships. So now I can handle this differently and go about it a different way. When we want our partners, our family members, our friends, our coworkers to change, but we're not willing to look inside to see what we need to change, we're resistant to looking within. And again, that's okay. That's just part of the human experience. Maybe we're mad at ourselves for being stuck in a pattern for years that we've been saying we want to get out of, but we haven't been. That's okay too. Just forgive yourself one day at a time, one moment at a time. I'm willing to change. And trust that that guidance will come. We also learn how to forgive ourselves in that process of like, okay, you know what? I was doing the best that I could at that time. Maybe I made some really stupid mistakes. Maybe I hurt some people in the process. Maybe I even hurt myself in the process. I was doing the best I could at that time. So I forgive myself for not knowing then what I know now. And now that I do know what I know, I can change and move forward with a different approach. We learn how to forgive others so that we're not holding on to that resentment that really only hurts us. And then we learn what really matters to us by exploring what we were taught to believe versus what we really want to believe. I was raised in the Catholic religion, and it never really made a whole lot of sense to me, but I went because that was part of our family's practice. And some of the things didn't make any sense to me, and I didn't want to believe them, but that's what I was told to believe. This is the way it is. This is what you believe. This is how you live your life. Well, way later, when I started getting into the science of mind and things like that, it's like, no, actually, this is what I want to believe. I don't want to believe this. This doesn't feel right for me. Maybe it does feel right for some, and that's the thing. There's not one right way for every single person. We have to tap in and feel what feels right for us. So we get, by asking ourselves these questions, by looking at these patterns, by looking at what we were taught as kids, and even just growing up in life and society and churches and schools and all of that, we get to decide what we want to believe in and move toward that truth. We learn how to express and let go of negative emotions in a healthy way. So often, anger and frustration and all that stuff. No, you don't need to feel that. That's not a loving act. We have these emotions for a reason. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. But we also need to learn how to express the anger in a healthy way and not direct it at the person who is frustrating us or who triggered us. So we learn how to express those negative emotions in a healthy way instead of holding on to them and having them fester inside of us. We learn to accept the many parts of ourselves, because as sometimes we start doing this work and we start realizing how many things we could have been doing differently, it's really easy to start just beating ourselves up, like, oh my God, wow, really? Have I been doing this to myself for this long? And just recognize, like, okay, again, I was doing the best I could. I wasn't being present. I wasn't being conscious of what I was doing. So we learn to accept those different parts of ourselves and forgive the parts that didn't know any better at the time. We get in touch with our feelings as a guidance system instead of shutting them down. I'm a true believer in our emotions revealing to us how aligned or not aligned we are with that power within us, with what feels right. If something feels right, we're going to have healthy emotions around it. If something doesn't feel right, we're not going to have positive emotions around it. And it doesn't mean that we can't switch that perspective. It might be something due to fear, and we need to look at that and heal through it, and then maybe it does feel right. But our emotions are such a guidance system of where we are in relation to our inner being. And we learn how to change what is often an unconscious and daily habit of thinking disempowering thoughts to getting into a daily habit of consciously thinking empowering thoughts. I lead the participants through an exercise, through a guided meditation visualization where, okay, just close your eyes and think about how your day begins. And the first thing you think when you wake up is it, oh, God, dreading today, I got to do this, I got to do that, oh man, I didn't get enough sleep? Or is it, okay, another day, this is awesome. When you get up and start getting ready, when you start eating your breakfast, are you rushing around and, oh my God, I don't have time for this is always so difficult, and Or are you like, okay, I made time for myself, I'm so appreciative that I have this food that I get to make. On your way to work, are you complaining about all the drivers on the road and how awful they are? Or are you thinking, so grateful for my reliable car and that it gets me to where I'm going every day? Just all these unconscious thoughts that go through our mind every day, if we can start to become more aware of them. What are we thinking when we first wake up? What are we thinking when we go to bed? What's the default pattern that we have going on? And if it's not a healthy one, if it's not one that feels good, that feels supportive of where you want to go, then, okay, let's change that. And it takes time. It takes time and it takes practice and it takes patience, but it's so, so worth it. We create affirmations for what we do want and learn how to let go of what we don't want. So all this to say, we learn. And it's a beautiful unveiling of revealing and healing and peeling back each layer and giving it oxygen to rekindle that power within you. Once we start getting rid of the stuff that just kind of covers it all up and that suffocates who we really are, and we unveil that, then that oxygen gets in there and rekindles the power. So these are all tried and true ways of rekindling the power within you, removing the layers of false conditioning and getting back in touch with the truth of our being. And there's so many more tools, of course, that we can put into practice. Meditation and visualization and yoga and mindfulness. There's so many different tools out there. So finding the tools that work for you, finding the ones that feel supportive of where you want to go and that feel doable, the things that we are starting to change and create new habits, like, is this actually doable for me? Or am I taking on something that I'm just going to get frustrated by and give up right away because it's just too much? And then by the time we get to the end of the workshop series, every participant has transformed their life in a very significant way in a very short amount of time. And I think what helps with the workshop series is that we're coming back each week. We talk about some stuff, we learn some stuff, we learn some tools, we have growth work for the week, and then we come back. And we all share the experience with each other. And we learn from each other, and we also get to share our voice in an environment that feels really supported and loving. And that's what a community like the Spiritual Center here does as well. And we haven't just talked about the principles, we've lived them by doing the work and coming back each week to hold ourselves accountable, to be supported by others and to support others. Unity's fifth principle says, knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough, we must live them. So it's a big difference. You know, we can learn stuff, we can resonate with stuff, but we actually have to live the practices in order to have them make a difference. So I hope sharing some of these practices with you helps you feel supported in your journey. We're all here together. And now I'm just going to lead us through a very brief guided meditation to get us in touch with that power within. I know I shared a lot of different aspects of how to rekindle the power within you, and hopefully some of those things are things that kind of touch maybe something within that's like, maybe that is something that I want to take a little deeper. I will be giving a Power is Within You workshop next month, and I believe it's on the calendar already and was in the e-news this past week, so I will be diving deeply into the teachings of Louise Hay's The Power is Within You. It's an awesome workshop. If you want to know more about it, I'll be here for a little bit after church and after service, happy to talk with you. And then there's a description in the Unity calendar as well. Okay, so I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes and allow your consciousness to rise high to the teachings of Source, while your feet and body stay grounded and rooted in this third dimensional world. Using that power within you to co-create what you want to experience in your visible world. So just listen to these words and take them in. In the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. And yet life is ever-changing. There is no beginning and no end, only a constant cycling and recycling of substance and experiences. Life is never stuck or static or stale, for each moment is ever new and fresh. I am one with the very power that created me, and this power has given me the power to create my own circumstances. I rejoice in the knowledge that I have the power of my own mind to use in any way I choose. Every moment of life is a new beginning point as we move from the old. This moment is a new point of beginning for me right here and right now. So just taking those words in, maybe putting your hand over your heart if that feels good, feeling your heartbeat, feeling your lungs breathe. Feel your power. Feel the power of your breath. Feel the power of your sound. Feel the power of your love. Feel the power of your forgiveness. Feel the power of your willingness to change. Feel your power. You are beautiful. You are a divine, magnificent being. You deserve all good, not just some, but all good. Feel your power. Be at peace with it, for you are safe. Welcome this day and every day with open arms and with love. And so maybe just in the next minute or so of silence, just feel into that power within you. Tap into that power within you and be willing to let it come forth.
Sakura, thank you very much for that. Can't hear that song without thinking about Ken Burns and the Civil War. And then even farther into that, it's like I have a sense of all of our history and all of the people who have come before us, and their struggles and the love that they've had between them. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. Catherine, way to go. So great reminders about awareness, the importance of awareness, and about the importance of coming fresh and renewed. Thich Nhat Hanh talked about coming to each moment in this freshened way, like a fresh flower. So I think about that. This idea and the reminder to remember to go within. It's so easy to be seemingly bombarded by all the things that happen in life, but to instead remember that the key is always to go within. I forget that, as many of us might do. I might not be alone in that. So thank you for those reminders and that sense of exploring and trusting and forgiving and bringing that newness to the present. So unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, Goddess, all there is, the many paths to God, for we know that there's only one power, one presence, one life. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey of transformation, you are welcome here. If there's anyone here for the first time and feel comfortable raising your hand, we would love to say hello to you and offer you a free coffee after services at our barista stand. Is there anyone here for the first time today? Okay, welcome. For those of you here, as well as those watching online, we encourage you to sign up for our e-news to learn more about our upcoming transformational speakers and workshops and events. You can sign up for our email newsletter by scanning the QR code that is on the screen and around the center, or on our website at unityspokane.org. We would like to connect with you as well on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search Unity Spiritual Center Spokane to find us, and thank you for being with us today. So now let's take a moment to bless one another with a hug, a high five, an air five, a socially distanced wave, a namaste greeting, or whatever floats your boat. Feel free to stand if you're able and send your loving energy to those around you. And we have a minute to do this. Thank you. talk?
No, there's no mystery.
Okay,
I'm just
okay.
gonna tell you that.
Okay.
I'm going to date myself, and I'm going to say, "Hello, American. Stand by for news." How many remember that? Pretty old, right? Thank you all. Love to see the greetings and energy going on there. All right. Well, true story. About 6:30 this morning, I get a text from Amber, who's sick. So she asked me to fill in for her, and literally if you saw me scrambling before service, it's because I'm trying to draw it all in. So anyways, I'm going to go through my notes here, and hopefully I don't miss anything and focus on this. First of all, we want to make sure that everybody remembers today's the last day for Karen Dunmore's Unity Basics class that's happening right after. So just remember, today's the last day, so you have an opportunity to attend that. Then we have Hot August night. Oh, well, we have the scan. Darlene talked about the QR code that you can scan. Then we have Hot August nights. Now, people have been coming up and asking, what is Hot August nights? Well, we're not going to just sit out in the parking lot in the heat, right? We actually have a barbecue. We play games. Last year, there was somebody brought some chalk, and some of the young artists in our community were out there drawing some beautiful stuff in the parking lot. We have ice cream. We hope we're going to have ice cream. We're going to do a lot of different things, and it's just really an opportunity for us to gather as a community, invite family, friends, neighbors to join us. And so that's what's going to be happening. Basically show our community that we're active, right? So there'll be, as I said, games. Invite you to bring your own favorite board game. Last time there were people sitting around tables playing games, which was kind of cool. One of the things that the committee wanted me to ask you about is we're looking for donations or raffle prizes. So if you feel inclined, the last social I came to, we did the bingo, and I got a gift card to Scoop. Okay? Oh, yeah, right? There was a couple of us fighting over that one. So even if it's just something you can go and get a gift card for, your favorite place, your favorite restaurant, your favorite ice cream shop or whatever, just feel free to get that and donate it to the group. So we're going to have raffle prizes and that sort of thing going on. All right. Then we have the Holistic Fair. We Are One Holistic Fair that's going on in Coeur d'Alene. This is being sponsored by Unity Center of Spiritual Growth in Coeur d'Alene. So We Are One, of course. We're partnering with them to make sure that we promote this. And so that's going to be on Saturday, August 27th, starting at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. start there, and then you come to Hot August night.
Yeah.
So
Thank.
if you don't make it back by 5.
All right. Then, self-promotion here, and that is this Thursday. Gets a little confusing because we alternate Thursday. But this Thursday, we have our Conscious Conversations class. Oh, that's Catherine. Catherine's plug for her workshop again. So this coming Thursday is Conscious Conversations here. We've been doing it out in the prayer garden. It's been lovely. It just seems to always be a nice, cool breeze that flows through. We've had excellent participation. Last time we got together, we talked about how COVID has changed our social interactions, and that was really neat. I think this week we're going to talk about listening. It's a big, broad subject, so it could be multi-session. So anyways, Conscious Conversations, join us here. Then we talked about Catherine, and then the last thing that I understand is, I just have it in my notes, mark your calendar, September 8th. Reverend David has got another book study. That's all I have on this right now. I don't have the name of the book or anything like that, but mark your calendar. He'll be starting a new book study. All right. That's all I have for news. Thank you, everyone.
So now it is time to celebrate our abundance together as we share our tithes and love offerings. If you are giving virtually today, please text the amount of your donation to our text to give number that's up on the screen, 509-215-2552. For those of you here in the sanctuary, our ushers will be going around the sanctuary with love offering baskets. So I invite you to hold your offering in your hand, or if you're a monthly giver or are giving virtually today, please hold that energy in your heart as we say together our love offering blessing. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share. Dear Spirit, abundant provider, thank you for all these gifts and for those who have given them. As we send them forward in continued service to our mission of transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. Thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. Our chaplains today are Cheryl. No, we have Theodora.
Well,
You-
I'm as a chaplain here, but may I make an announcement?
Absolutely. Did you want to come up here?
Thanks. I don't know if you know this, but Mary True has had an unfortunate health circumstance, and she is in rehab. I'm going to be visiting her this afternoon, so I'm going to get a card for her at the bookstore, and if any of you would like to write something to her on it, then I'll be out here, and you can do that. Thanks.
Okay, chaplains. We have Cheryl, and Cheryl's right there, and we have Gary. Different Gary? I see one Gary. All right. Okay, so they have been holding the service in prayer for us today. Cheryl already stood, saying thank you. She's going to be available to pray with you immediately following the service. And so if you have something heavy on your heart or something that you want to celebrate, please come and see her, and she'll be available up here in the front of the sanctuary following the peace song. Thank you both for your service. We would like to encourage anyone in need of prayer support to please fill out a prayer request form that can be found in the front seat pocket right there in front of you. or it's also on the table as you leave the sanctuary. And you can put those in our prayer boxes. You can also submit a request through our online form as well. Names are added to our prayer list and are prayed over by a whole large group of people here within our congregation through the prayer ministry, and then they're forwarded on to Silent Unity in Unity Village. So now we're going to have kids arriving, and if we can bring them in with Walking in the Light, that would be great.
Well, before we do the children's announcement, I'm Joan Breckling. If you don't know me, I'm board president, and I just wanted to make an announcement, and that is that the board has decided to offer our spiritual leader position to Reverend Bonnie Barnard. We had an overwhelmingly positive congregational response last week, and so we are entering into contract negotiations and also waiting for Unity Worldwide to give us the go-ahead to go into this process. So we'll just keep you posted. Thank you.
So, thank you, Reverend Bonnie, for all the questions you answered last week. That was great. You had a lot of questions that we gave to you. Also, thank you to everyone who was kind of a part of this process over the last several years of the exploration and the opening of our hearts to a new minister. So thank you, everyone, for all the time that was spent in that process. So we're so blessed here to have this amazing youth ministry and all of our kids, and that's all a part of Unity Spiritual Center. So let's take a moment to bless our children, the youth, those who are a part of the ministry, with our children's blessing. Be the love you are, sing the song you hear, share your joy of life with people far and near. And for ourselves, be the love we are, sing the song we hear, share our joy of life with people far and near. And now, kids, go ahead and find the adult that you came with. So now, go ahead and stand as you're able, and we're going to join together for our closing prayer, and then that will be followed by our peace song. So we're going to affirm together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God holds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and that's the truth.